I'm so wet. Stormy nights don't stay. From the moment that we met, you were worth the wait. Oh, this could be the best thing that I'll ever know. Best thing that I'll ever know.
Hello, 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 hello. Well, I hope more people will come in than just the one person that's here. But in any event, let's do our fair use disclaimer thing here. Here we go, fair use. The copyrighted material does not in any way diminish or affect the market value of the original work. We believe that our use constitutes fair use. So any such copyright material as provided for in Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Law. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, hi, Brown Eyed Girl. Hi, God's Child H. Do I know you? So I'm going to throw up I'm not really going to throw up. That didn't come out right. I need to say trigger warning because, oh, H. Davis. Okay. I'm sorry. I love the new name. Complete check. Oh, I was looking at TMU before I came on here. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going to look for this. Open sesame. All right, come over here where you belong. Get big like you're supposed to be. Sorry, I talked to my computer because it doesn't listen. This is the newest flyer for Sebastian Rogers. And the reward for finding him, I'm buffering on your end. Maybe if you go out and come back in, because everything looks fine on my end. I don't know. Anyway, the reward for Sebastian is up to $447,000. But I'm going to have to keep looking because I think I saw something that said if you go through the TBI or FBI, you only get the $50,000. You have to turn in the reward through Dog the Bounty Hunter and the At Night team in order to get their portion of it. I don't know. I don't know. But at any rate. Okay, so this story that we're going to cover tonight is, it says it's the worst case of child torture police have ever seen. The tragic unaliving of a 2-year-old Aaden Batista. Now, when I went to when I went to their channel, um, Detective Meyer Stories channel, um, a lot of their cases say the worst case of child something that the police have ever seen. So let me do the present share screen thing. All right. So here it is. Did you see CP was on BQ channel with TL? No, I did not. I was watching the mob crew from Wednesday. He was talking about those papers, and to the best of my knowledge, they couldn't determine, Chris from the mob crew could not determine if it was actually just a subpoena that was issued to him or some kind of criminal warrant, like they were saying on the paperwork, on the scanner, because he was looking up in court documents and stuff, and he couldn't find anything for Chris Proudfoot, and all he could find was the subpoena for Katie. And then he went on some channel. I don't know who. I think it was Nobody's Granny's Watching, and that Yada and Chris Proudfoot were both on there, and Chris Proudfoot told Yada that he's never met her, and he said he's never going to meet her face to face because she's not part of the family. She's just putting her nose where it doesn't belong and all this stuff. And Chris clicked off of it. The mob crew clicked off of it and went to something else. So, okay, we're going to watch this case. I'm not going to join the channel. I'm going to subscribe to the channel, okay? Because I think we can get a lot of good information from this. I don't know why it's this kind of a picture. Let me enlarge it a little bit here so you can see it better. Okay, let's listen. Oh, let me turn on some music. What I heard is he's got to bring evidence of what he's saying at the next court date. What do you mean evidence of what he's saying? You mean about BHB? He's got to bring evidence as why he's afraid of her? Or he's got to show proof that she's actually tried to contact him in some way. Which he can't do. He can't show proof of either one, so I'm not worried. I am thankful that BHB managed to get it moved out of Sumner County. Got the court case moved out of Sumner County. And I think that's why they got subpoenaed, was because they have to go to a different county to go to court. That's just my thoughts. I don't know. Okay, now let's listen to what's going to happen to this poor little boy named Aaden.
Okay, I'll show you porno pictures with massive hemorrhaging. Massive hemorrhaging. so deep into the brain that it's physically impossible. Not to mention, he had a torn, and his was black and blue from someone ripping at it.
No.
How does that happen from a wall?
For me.
Because you're also charged with sexual battery.
Now, yes, that's why I've been staying off of them. That's why I've been staying off of them brown-eyed girls. I agree with you right there. The YT streets are crazy. I've been staying off of them. I went on Brittany's channel for a little while last night. Then my husband was ready to go to bed, so I can't watch Brittany while he's in bed. Not if I'm downstairs. And so I had to get up this morning early to finish his laundry and wash all the bedding for his truck and get all of his food out of the freezer ready for him and get all his soda ready and get the our truck loaded with the stuff he has to take out on the road with him for the next month and a half. And then I got all our stuff loaded. And he's working on my e-commerce store. I think it's ready to go live. I mean, you can go on it right now and purchase things off of it if you want. I'll post it here. Would you like me to go to my store and show you real quick what it looks like? Pull this up. I didn't want to go in as an admin. I want to go in as a regular person. Thank you. All right, I'm going to switch over here and share screen with my store. All right. This is my Get Lockered resale. And this is about what my store is about. And then if you come down here, you can search by items. This is an art glass Jack in the Pulpit swirl design vase. This is a pencil holder. These are salt and pepper shakers. This is a infuser. And every page has different items that are for sale. Because I go out thrifting all the time, and I still have all this stuff that I need to list. eBay's kicking me off of eBay because I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. I had over $14,000 worth of items listed, and they started delisting all my products. And when I finally got a hold of somebody, she said it's because I had 5 items that I couldn't find after I had sold them. So they think I can't keep up with my own stuff. I'm like, are you not aware that I had a physical store when I started selling on eBay? And then I moved out of my physical store and some of the items haven't been unpacked yet. Well, if you can only have 12 items or 15 items then, or 25 items, then we think you might be able to keep up with those items. So, but yeah, that's my store. And all you got to do, like this is a Mexican Tonala pottery vase, as is, it has been repaired. I agree, Brown Eye Girls. I agree. I tried to do that watching court TV and stuff like that and not going to any of the channels because I didn't want to get involved in the drama. But then at night when there's no court TV, I got bored. So I went back to going into the channels. Okay, so this is a Tanala pottery vase. I'll pull it up for you so you can see it. It says view this product. And it brings it up and you can see a close up of it. It does have a repair right there where it was glued together. That was before I purchased it. When I purchased it, I didn't notice the repair until after I got home. But it's on the back side of the base. So, and then if you want to purchase it, you just click add to cart and you can use your debit card or whatever to pay for it. I know it's got my debit card in there because I'm the one logged into the account, but it would have your own in there. And I have no way of viewing what your card number looks like or anything like that. The only thing I get from it is an address to ship to. And then it tells everything about the vase and shows you other items that are related to, other vases and things like that. Okay, this one is cloisonne, this one is Namaji, this one's Japanese, and this one is a Studio Nova. So, I mean, that's just the way my channel's set up. I hope Sebastian gets found soon. I really do. But then there'll be some other case will come up, and because I hear they're finding more evidence on the Summer Wells case. All right, let's listen to this some more.
On charges.
Yeah, that's part of the charges.
Yeah.
Oh,
Content warning.
what I started to say. Apparently, he had given his girlfriend's son a bath, and he had him, a 2-year-old, he had him standing on the closed toilet so he could brush his teeth. And apparently he turned around to rinse the toothbrush out, and the little boy, according to him, the little boy fell between the tub and the toilet and hit his head on the tub, and he got severe hemorrhaging inside. But they're saying that his private parts were damaged and bruised too, so I don't know.
Warning. This video contains a disturbing true crime story of child abuse and murder. At the end of this video, you will witness actual police interrogation footage where 2 detectives confront the killer, revealing horrific details that were previously unknown. The interrogation contains shocking confessions that finally expose the full truth behind this tragic case. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. First of all, I want to remind you that you can support my channel with a...
See what I meant? It says detectives have never seen such brutally high-profile case. 5 cases with the most insane twists. I think I want to start covering, because he says on here to share his work. So I think I'd like to start sharing his work and covering his cases, because some of these might not be solved yet, and we might be able to. If not, we just need to at least get these kids' name out there somewhere to let people know what's going on in our country.
Sponsorship subscription. Your support will help me to create more interesting investigations for you and uncover the terrible secrets of criminal cases. I would be very grateful if you would like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss new investigations on my channel. Without further ado, let's dive into the details of this criminal story. This is a heart-wrenching story about Aaden Batista, a 2-year-old boy from Florida, whose life was tragically cut short in April 2010 due to abuse at the hands of his mother's boyfriend, Jason Paget. This tragic tale highlights not only the depths of cruelty that some people are capable of inflicting upon a helpless child, but also the failure of those around him to intervene and potentially save Aaden, despite numerous warning signs and opportunities to do so. Aaden Lee Batista entered the world on May 2, 2008, in Palm Bay, Florida, born to Whitney Batista and Jeffrey Batista. His bright blue eyes and dimpled smile instantly captivated both.
Isn't he so cute? I just snuggle and cuddle him all day long. He is so cute. They say he's got blue eyes, but those eyes are pretty dark.
Parents, who, despite their separation shortly after his birth, shared a fierce devotion to their son. Whitney, a nurse working long shifts at the local hospital, juggled motherhood with her demanding career, while Jeffrey ensured Auden's weekends and evenings were filled with adventure. Jeffrey's parents, Auden's paternal grandparents, became pillars of stability in the toddler's life, often caring for him during the week and hosting lively family gatherings where Aaden showcased his growing talents. The boy split his time between his mother's warmth and his father's playful guidance. His days a blend of bedtime stories with Whitney and fishing trips with Jeffrey along the Indian River Lagoon. At his grandparents' home, Aaden discovered a world of laughter and learning. His grandfather taught him to count seashells collected from nearby beaches, while his grandmother sang nursery rhymes that he soon memorized and performed for relatives. From the start, Aaden was a whirlwind of curiosity. His stuffed bear, Buddy, rarely left his side whether he was napping in his crib or building block towers under Jeffrey's watchful eye. By 18 months, Aaden could name every color in his crayon box, a skill Jeffrey
I've never seen Aaden spelled Aaden. I think that's why the reader keeps calling him Aaden, because I think it's an AI reader.
nurtured through games like Rainbow Hunt during their walks. His first words, Mama, Love, and Song echoed the tenderness of his bond with Whitney, while his knack for memorizing nursery rhymes turned family gatherings into joyous sing-alongs. His grandparents marveled at his quick mind, often joking that he'd inherited their love for puzzles and music. Whitney poured her soul into their time together. After exhausting shifts, she'd take Aaden to Palm Bay's parks, where he'd squeal with delight on swings, begging, "Higher, Mama, higher." His laughter became a soundtrack to their evenings, a reminder of the light he brought into her world. Meanwhile, Jeffrey introduced Aaden to the wonders of nature, catching tadpoles in jars, counting seashells, and marveling at sunsets. On weekends, his grandparents joined these adventures, their backyard transforming into a playground where Aaden chased butterflies and stacked pebbles into castles under their doting supervision. For Aaden, life was a tapestry woven with his mother's lullabies, his father's patient lessons, his grandparents' unwavering support, and Buddy's steadfast companionship. Though Jeffrey and Whitney's paths diverged, their love for Aaden remained unwavering. But in 2009, Jason Paget, then a 24-year-old boyfriend of Whitney, entered their lives. The couple had been dating for just 3 months before moving in together with little Aaden at the Pinewood Apartments complex in Palm Bay.
Now, this guy has 3 sons of his own that are older, that are with their mother. And there's so many red flags that I wouldn't let him around my child. My child's 17.
Despite Jason's troubling criminal history, which included arrests for child abuse, aggravated assault, assault on law enforcement officers, numerous drug-related violations, and domestic violence, Whitney ignored these clear warning signs and continued the relationship. Initially, the situation seemed stable.
In my opinion, I mean, this is just between you and me because I ain't nobody. But if she knew all this about this guy, especially the little person harming that he has done in the past, and the rug sales and stuff like that he's done in the past and been to jail for, you know, those kind of things, I wouldn't want that around my child. So whatever happened to her child, while she was at work, she is just as guilty, in my opinion, as the man that did it because she left her 2-year-old baby in the care of a known harmer.
However, it soon became apparent that trouble was brewing beneath the surface. Within days, Jason's explosive temperament and controlling nature emerged. He became increasingly hostile and prone to outbursts of anger. Neighbors regularly heard Aaden's screams and crying in the evenings. They also heard Jason yelling at the child, followed by sounds indicating possible violence. A few days before Aaden's tragic death, one of the neighbors witnessed a particularly disturbing scene. Jason was holding the boy by his ankles, upside down for several minutes, while screaming and shaking him. Aaden's face had turned red, and he was gasping, trying to breathe.
That sounds like shaking baby syndrome to me. Hold them upside down till they're, ooh.
Janitor saw Aaden the next day. The boy had a huge bruise on his cheek. His eye was swollen and half closed. When the janitor expressed concern, Jason responded, "Mind your own business, old man. He's just a clumsy brat." After this, the janitor did nothing. 3 days before the tragedy, a concerned neighbor called the police due to noises from the apartment. However, after Jason's assurances that everything was fine, the officers left without speaking to Whitney or Aaden. Whitney's friend, who came to visit one day, was shocked to see Aaden. He was sitting quietly in the corner, very pale and trembling. There were strange circular burns visible on his arms. When the woman asked Jason about this, he became furious and threw her out. She didn't pursue the matter further and didn't report what she had seen.
See, so she's guilty too now. That's just not right.
On the evening of April 7th, 2010, the building tension erupted into unspeakable violence that terrorized Aaden during his final hours of life. It began around 7 o'clock in the evening, when Jason, as he claimed, allowed Aaden to go play at the neighboring apartment of a 13-year-old girl named Lauren. While Aaden was with Lauren, Jason and his friend Chris were playing Xbox in the apartment. About an hour later, Jason went to get Aaden and took him for a bath. After bathing, he sat Aaden on the closed toilet lid to dry him off and brush his teeth. But when Jason turned to the sink to rinse Aaden's toothbrush, there was a loud thud. Jason claimed that Aaden fell from the toilet, though he didn't witness the fall. According to him, Aaden cried for several minutes, but then calmed down and said he was okay. After this, Jason carried Aaden to the living room, gave him a bottle of apple juice, and put him to bed around 9 o'clock. Neighbors heard Jason shouting, "Shut up, be quiet," and "I told you to go to sleep before this." Then Jason returned to the living room to continue playing Xbox with Chris. Around 11 o'clock, Whitney returned home from work and went to check on Aaden. To the mother's horror, she found her 2-year-old son limp and unresponsive. Heart-wrenching screams of despair echoed from the apartment. They immediately rushed Aaden to the local hospital.
See, yeah, everyone failed him. I agree. Now, what they say about his private parts, now that I hear that there was a 13-year-old girl involved, I'm going to say just the way it sounds to me, because of what else we're going to find out later. I think the safest place that little Aaden has been during this time was with the 13-year-old girl. I really do. I think she was the safest person for him during this few days' time.
But it was too late. When Aaden was taken to the hospital, he was in critical condition. The medical team mobilized all resources to save the child's life, but the extent of his injuries was unprecedented. The boy suffered multiple head injuries that caused dangerous brain swelling. His internal organs began to fail, unable to cope with the effects of the abuse. Doctors fought desperately to stabilize Aaden's condition. Even the most experienced medics were shocked by what had happened. The nurses, who had seen many tragedies over the years, could hardly contain their emotions as they realized what adult cruelty had led to. The autopsy revealed the full extent of the nightmare Aaden had endured in his final days. As the medical examiner documented the injuries that caused the baby's death, a gruesome picture emerged. The medical examination revealed that the injuries could not have been accidental. Many of them had the character of systematic torture that had occurred over a long period of time. Physical trauma was not the only horror endured by Aaden. The examination revealed additional evidence of abuse beyond physical injuries. The nature and localization of the injuries left no doubt as to the intentional, sadistic nature of the adult's actions. It was difficult for the medical examiner to maintain professional impartiality while realizing the extent of the child's suffering. Despite all the efforts of medical professionals, Aaden was not destined to survive. Aaden's grandfather, who was the first to arrive at the hospital, tried to resuscitate his grandson. Later, during the trial, his voice broke as he recalled that terrible day. "I will never forget that sight, my little Aaden lying there covered in blood and bruises. I prayed that he would just breathe." Surrounded by his family, Aaden died on April 8, 2010. From his injuries, he was only 2 years old. Aaden's death sparked a wave of grief and outrage as the horrifying details of the final hours of his life began to emerge. Police immediately arrested Jason Paget and charged him with murder, child homicide, child abuse, and child neglect. Further investigation revealed a disturbing pattern of institutional failures. The missed opportunity by police officers just days before Aaden's death was just one example in a long chain of systemic breakdowns. Time and again, various agencies and individuals had chances to intervene, but bureaucratic gaps and lack of follow-through left Aaden vulnerable to his abuser. The Brevard County Child and Family Protection Services reported that there was already an open child neglect case regarding Jason and Whitney. However, despite numerous warning signs and reports, no one took decisive action to protect the defenseless boy. After initial
Even the county failed him. And child services. Oh my goodness. This story, this poor little guy, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Only 2 years old and just barely learning how to walk. And
police questioning, Jason eventually confessed to the crime. During the audio recording, he confirmed that Aaden's injuries were inflicted when the boy was alone under his supervision. Contrary to previous statements about an accidental fall, the horrible truth finally came to light. This was a deliberate, brutal act of violence. In 2012, Jason Paget stood trial for the horrific torture and murder of Aaden. At the trial, prosecutors presented compelling evidence photographs, medical records detailing Aaden's injuries, and blood-stained children's clothing. Each new piece of evidence sparked waves of horror and outrage in the courtroom. The most emotional moment of the trial came during the testimony of medical workers, experienced professionals who struggled to hold back tears while describing the most egregious case of child abuse in their practice.
I don't know that I could hold back tears if I was having to explain what I had just found wrong with a baby that small. I don't know if I could. I mean, look at that child. He's got such innocence on his face. And you can tell that's his grandpa. I mean, they look just alike.
Particularly moving was the testimony of Aaden's grandfather, who was the first to arrive at the scene of the tragedy and tried to save his grandson. His voice trembled as he recalled those terrible minutes. Regarding Whitney, the investigation showed that before the tragedy, her relationship with Jason had been strained. On one occasion, Jason became furious when Whitney wanted Aaden to be with them while watching a movie, rather than spending time alone with Jason. He became so angry that he left the room and played video games in another room. The defense tried to argue that Jason's
I don't know what his conviction was at the end. I really couldn't tell you. I don't know. I was watching it, and I think it was time to leave to take Butch to work, and I didn't get to see the end of it. I said, well, rather than going and hunting it down because my Roku just keeps playing to the next thing and next thing and next thing. I said, I'll just watch it when I'm doing my live tonight and find out what the results were then. But, oh, yeah, I agree. It is so very sad. So very sad. He deserves whatever he gets.
actions were clouded by drug use and that Whitney was more culpable in Aaden's death than he was. But the evidence of Jason's years of violence and abusive behavior was overwhelming. After an intense trial, the jury deliberated briefly and quickly returned a guilty verdict on all counts, including first-degree murder. When the judge read the sentence, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, Jason remained emotionless. He cast one final contemptuous glance toward Aaden's weeping family before being led from the courtroom in handcuffs. His complete lack of remorse or emotion about what he had done only underscored the horrific.
Well, brown-eyed girls, you called that one. He got it without the possibility of parole. He deserved it.
Nature of his crimes. Although Aaden suffered abuse only from Jason, many question Whitney's actions as well. How could a mother leave her young son with a man who had a history of domestic violence and child abuse? Why didn't she notice the numerous injuries and bruises on Aaden's body during the final months of his life? These painful questions remain without clear answers. Though Whitney was not officially charged in connection with her son's death, her failure to protect Aaden will forever overshadow his memory.
Tell what happened, okay? Because he didn't fall from a toilet, okay?
Did you ask that
I'll
little girl
show you
what happened
porno
up there?
pictures with
Yep, we talked to
massive
her.
hemorrhaging. Massive hemorrhaging.
Oh,
So deep into the brain that it's physically impossible. Not to mention he had a torn and his penis was black and blue from someone ripping at it.
no.
How does that happen
That
from a
damn sure
fall?
wasn't for me.
Because you
See,
were
Dude, that damn.
You're
I didn't know all
also
that.
charged with sexual battery on
Are
a
you
child.
serious?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's part of the charges.
Yeah.
That's part of the that's
Can you believe what they just said was wrong with that baby's below the waist area? Torn and black and blue. How anybody can do that to a 2-year-old. Any child. I don't care what age the child is. My son's 17 and I couldn't imagine somebody doing that to him. Oh my goodness. No.
part of the medical findings is besides the massive head injury was damage to his
Mutilation to
and
From how I'm saying the damage
Well-
to his anus from when though?
in
In general, just in general.
Well, the penis was fresh. You could see there was
I damn
some.
sure ain't do that, sir. I'm
No,
not. I don't mess with no little kids' penis.
Okay.
I'm not no fat.
But you see where we're coming from
Yeah, I
right
do
now.
actually.
Okay,
I do.
we have a
I
kid.
didn't know all
With,
that.
yeah, we have a kid with a major head injury. And
Okay, so where are they saying the head injury came from? They don't know. I mean, I'm not saying
Well,
they
you're
don't know.
telling me it came from him
I know,
hitting
I know.
his
they,
head.
they can't say how it happened,
Oh, I know that. I know.
but they can't say how it couldn't have happened.
Okay.
Okay, they can't say it did not happen by a simple fall. Okay,
Man,
it's physically
But I'm
impossible.
I'm nowhere near the only person that watches this kid though. Like as far as that other
Okay.
shit, man.
Do you think the 13-year-old girl could have done something? And maybe Aaden actually didn't get a bath that night, so he wouldn't have noticed. Yes, I agree. This man is sick.
I ain't do no shit like
But
that.
once his kid was hurt, there would have been no telling that he was hurt. There would have been no mistaking that he was hurt. Okay? Like you said, he cried for 15 minutes. Has he ever cried for 15 minutes before?
Yeah.
Okay. But like I said, all this together, okay, when they did the medical exam, I said they found the damage to the genitals, okay?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And the damage head.
Really bad, man.
But you see what I'm saying? All this it comes together and it makes you look.
I don't know if this dude over here is an investigator or if he's an attorney. I don't know. I can't figure out that. But yeah, I agree with you, Brown Eye Girls. This guy is sick.
Really bad.
Yeah, it does.
It makes you look like a real monster. Okay? It looks like the kid. It looks like the kid was tortured. That's what it looks like.
Remember
Okay.
when we put you in the car and I said people are either going to draw conclusions from the evidence and think you're a monster, or you can tell us the truth. And
What gets me is that they know they did it, but they still lie and say they didn't do it. Right. And look at his face. He's showing no emotion. Like, I mean, this looks like something that happened back in the 70s or something, but I don't know when it happened. But he's not showing any. If I was being accused of doing something that I know darn good and well that I did not do, I would not be sitting there straight faced. I'd be 100% crying like a big old baby, and I don't cry. I'd be Kim Kardashian crying. Oh man, I'd be crying.
I know it's not as bad as what people are going to make it out to be.
Hell no,
But
man.
you did more than that.
Okay.
I swear I didn't, man. He was upstairs for an hour, but I don't want to put that on no little 13-year-old girl, man.
Yeah.
You already confirmed when I talked to you the first.
All I need is Jesus, coffee, and true crime. I'm here watching on TV, just putting on my nighttime skincare. Okay, well, I'm going to give you a trigger warning. This is one sick man. One sick man.
First time that kid
I'm
came
talking
back
about his
fine.
nuts and all. I didn't change his diaper.
I'm
He was in
talking.
the
Well, you
shower.
gave him a
Yeah,
bath.
he wasn't bruised
He's
up.
naked in the
Yeah.
bath. How did you not see it on his genitals?
He wasn't when Whitney had him at the hospital.
How did you not see it in the bath?
Okay,
You
listen
gave
to me.
him a
Hold on,
bath, correct?
hold on. You like to do that. That's not
Wait,
necessary.
wait. How did you not see
Okay,
his
you gonna
bruised
listen
penis?
when me and Whitney took him to the hospital and they stripped this child down. This child didn't have a bruise on his penis. This child didn't have a red mark on his thigh. This child didn't have anything wrong with him. So if there wasn't nothing wrong
He
with
was
his
life flighted to Arnold Palmer
no, you're not.
in
I'm not
grave
talking about.
condition.
I'm not
How
talking
could you
about his
say he
head
had
injury,
no?
sir. Please, man. Like I know I can say.
Wait, how did?
Okay, I'm going to back that up just a little bit. Because he said, okay, he said something about, he said he didn't change his diaper. I can't believe a 2-year-old endured so much for so long. Just pitiful little baby. Yeah.
A torn, and his penis was black and blue from someone ripping at it.
No.
How does that happen
That
from a
damn sure
fall?
wasn't for me.
Because you
So
were
You that damn.
you're
See, I didn't know all
also
that.
charged with sexual battery on
Are
a
you
child.
serious?
Yes, that's part of the charges.
Yeah.
That's part of the medical findings. Is besides the the massive head injury was damage to his
Mutilation to
and
From how I'm saying the damage to his anus from when though?
well
In
and
general, just in general.
well, the penis was fresh. You could see there was.
Okay, H. Davis, I'm glad you're back. This case is still triggering.
There
My
was
damn
some.
sure ain't do that, sir. I'm
No,
not. I don't mess with no little kids' penis.
Okay.
I'm not no fat.
But you see where we're coming from
Yeah,
right
I do
now.
actually.
Okay.
I do.
We have a
I
kid.
didn't know all
with,
that.
Yeah, we have a kid with a major head injury. And
Okay, so what are they saying the head injury came from? They don't know. I mean, I'm not saying
well,
they don't
you're
know.
telling me it came from him.
I know
hitting
that.
his
they
head.
can't say how it happened,
Oh, I know that. I know.
but they can't say how it couldn't have happened. Okay. They can say it did not happen by a simple fall. Okay.
Man,
it's physically
But I'm
impossible.
nowhere near the only person that watches this kid though. Like as far as that other
Okay.
shit, man, I ain't do no shit like
But
that.
once this kid was hurt, there would have been no telling that he was hurt. There would have been no mistaking that he was hurt. Okay? Like you said, he cried for 15 minutes. Has he ever cried for 15 minutes before?
Yeah.
Okay. But like I said, all this together, okay, when they did the medical exam, I said they found the damage to the genitals. Okay.
No, that's fine.
And the damage
makes me look really bad, man.
But you see what I'm saying? All this comes together and it makes you look really bad.
Yeah, it does.
It makes you look like a real monster. Okay? It looks like the kid was tortured. That's what it looks like.
Remember when we put you in the car and I said people are either going to draw conclusions from the evidence and think you're a monster, or you can tell us the truth. And I know it's not as bad as what people are going to make it out to be.
Hell no,
but
man.
you did more than that.
Okay.
I swear I didn't, man. He was upstairs for an hour, but I don't want to put that on no little 13-year-old girl, man.
Yeah.
You already confirmed when I talked to you the first time that kid
I'm
came
talking
back
about
fine.
his nuts and all. I didn't change his diaper.
I'm talking.
He was in the
Well,
shower.
you gave him a bath.
Right there. He said, I didn't change his diaper. How do you give a child a bath and not change his diaper?
Bad.
Yeah, it does.
It makes you look like a real monster. Okay? It looks like the kid was tortured. That's what it looks like.
Remember when we put you in the car and I said people are either going to draw conclusions from the evidence and think you're a monster, or you can tell us the truth. And I know it's not as bad as what people are going to make it out to be.
Hell no,
but
man.
you did more than that.
Okay.
I swear I didn't, man. He was upstairs for an hour, but I don't want to put that on no little 13-year-old girl, man.
Yeah.
You already confirmed when I talked to you the first time that kid
I'm
came
talking
back
about
fine.
his nuts and all. I didn't change his diaper.
I'm
He was in
talking.
the
Well, you
shower.
gave him a bath.
change his
He's
diaper.
naked in the bath. How did you not see it on his genitals?
He wasn't when Whitney had him at the hospital.
How did you not
See, he won't say anything about when he was in the bath. I'm thinking he's hiding the fact that he didn't give the kid a bath.
see it in the bath?
Okay,
You
listen
gave
to me.
him a
Hold on,
bath, correct?
hold on. You like to do that. That's not necessary.
Wait. How did you not see
Okay,
his
you're gonna
bruised
listen.
penis?
When me and Whitney took him to the hospital and they stripped this child down. This child didn't have a bruise on his penis. This child didn't have a red mark on his thigh. This child didn't have anything wrong with him. So if there wasn't nothing wrong with his
life flighted to Arnold Palmer.
No, you're not.
In
I'm not
grave
talking about.
condition.
I'm not
How
talking
could you
about his
say he
head
had
injury,
no?
sir. Please, man. Like I know I can say.
Wait, how
I
did
don't
he
wanna
get the
talk.
head injury? How do you get the head injury?
I told you how he got the head injury, sir. What I'm saying, listen. You're talking about. I am talking about his injuries to his testicles and his ass, sir. When we took him to the hospital and they took his clothes off him and put him in the thing.
How would you see his anus? Did you?
I'm not talking about his anus. I'm talking about his. Didn't I just tell him what? Like I want to sit here and talk to you guys. I know all I got to say, like you said, is I don't want to talk anymore, and I go back there. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, we're here for you.
But what I'm saying to you is, when he was stripped naked on that hospital bed at Holmes.
You weren't even there. You left because you said you were afraid of getting arrested.
What?
You left the hospital. You left Whitney
Aren't you the person?
hospital.
Aren't you the person that knocked on the window?
Hold on.
Holmes, sir. Holmes.
Did
You're not
you
listening to me.
leave? Did you leave
Why
Holmes
does he wanna
Regional
listen to me?
Hospital?
When did you leave the hospital?
When you knocked on the car window, sir, you woke me up from sleep in the car.
Did you leave before that?
No, I did not.
You were not.
I went outside to
wait,
smoke
hold
a
on.
cigarette.
Did you have to be called back to the hospital?
Oh yeah, yes sir. I went to smoke a cigarette into the store to give her something to drink, and so I asked her if she wanted anything. All I had was a food stamp card.
So Chris Plum's lying?
About what? That was at 4 o'clock in the morning after you, sir. Yes, it was. I've talked to Chris. Yesterday.
Yeah, we know you talked to Chris. He told us you told him what to say.
I told him what to say.
Yes. I'm telling you, man.
I'm so glad I have no man in my life. If I did, I would never leave my 5-year-old with him, even if we were in love. She's with me 24/7. No one watches her. That's really good. Does she go to like a daycare or a preschool or something so she can get interaction with other children? Or is she really shy around other people because of you being a wonderfully protected mom? I know my daughter doesn't let, or my sister doesn't let anybody watch her daughter except her boyfriend's mom. And her daughter, when we see her, she hides from us and turns her face and won't talk to us or anything the first day that we're there. But the second day we're there, or maybe right before she goes to bed, then she'll kind of warm up to us a little bit again. But she knows who Auntie is and Uncle, and she watches my YouTube videos, but she's like she's afraid of us or something because she doesn't know us very well. And I hate to see any child in that position where they're afraid of people just because their parents are super protective. Now don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong because I'm a helicopter parent. I have to know every move my child makes every minute of every day. Trust me. He says I'm overprotective. And I said, my goal in life is to make sure you're awake to go to sleep at night. If you're not alive to go to sleep at night, then I didn't do my job right. She's too shy, yeah. She needs interaction with other people. With your supervision, of course.
Man, you think these people are your friends?
That's
They think you're a monster.
No, sir.
I'm just being straight with you, Jason.
Okay.
All right? I told you, I'm not sitting here at 2 a.m. lying to you that Chris Plum told us that.
When you backed out of my house at 3:30 in the morning, I went up to Chris's house and knocked on his door.
That's what
I did not leave the hospital and go anywhere. You can ask the black security guard. He's the one that see me walking back from across the street. I was by Circles of Care. I was just walking around smoking a cigarette. I did not leave and go back to the house. I did not say, "Oh, I'm leaving the hospital because I don't want to get arrested." Because if I was afraid I was going to get arrested, when they called me back,
Did
I
you
wouldn't have
ever
came
say that you were afraid of being arrested to anyone?
Oh, of course I was like, man, I know they're going to try to take me to jail for this.
Why, if it's an accident?
Because Whitney called me on the phone and was like, "Hey, baby, they're saying, what'd you do to my baby? They're saying that what you said."
Yeah, but that wasn't, when was that?
The day I left. I was still there when she called me on the phone. I was
Still where?
Arnold Palmer Hospital at the Ronald McDonald House. She calls me on the phone screaming, telling me to come meet her. I come around the corner and she comes screaming, "Oh, you killed my baby, Jason. Tell me what you did." I was like, "Man, don't say that. Don't accuse me of that." Because they're going to say, okay, well, they're going to say that I killed your baby and they're going to want to take me to jail. You out here screaming all that shit, man. I'm not no murderer. I'm not a murderer.
Have you
You're right, H. Davis. Some people just don't think. And this guy obviously wasn't thinking.
ever struck him in the head?
No.
Okay. We have 5 witnesses saying that they have seen you close fist punch him in the head, slap him in the face, drag him across the parking lot.
That's a lie.
Twist his ear.
That's a lie.
Strike him, throw him off a scooter, and then hit him with it.
That's a lie.
Okay, listen to me. He's not lying. Okay,
Yes,
people.
he's got to be.
He's laughing. He's saying that's a lie and he's laughing. Yeah, you're right, Brown Eyed Girls. He knows he did it and he's still lying.
Listen to me.
Everyone's lying.
Listen
but
to me. People have said that. Okay.
Well, the only,
Let me
say
can I
this?
talk to you?
The only time that scooter is ever at my house is when my 3 sons are there. I got a 9-year-old son that will tell you I
So the
never
rest
did
is
that.
true, but the scooter's not.
None of it's true.
Yeah, listen to me. This is what people said. Okay. He's speaking the truth. I mean, we had detectives out there all day doing stuff. People were coming up and telling us that. Okay.
I talked
Now, okay.
to a bunch of people. I know.
Okay. Now listen to me. So we have that, all that stuff. Okay. Making you look bad. Okay. I'm not saying I'm taking sides. I don't believe anybody right now.
Everybody's took a side already.
Okay. Let me talk. Okay.
Because we don't have yours.
Okay. Now,
That's true. I mean, if you're going to take a side, you're going to have to take the side of what you can see. And if he's not going to tell the truth, then like that officer said, they don't have his side to be able to take his side.
listen to me. We have that. Okay. And like I said, we have these injuries. Okay. Now with the genitals and the rear end part,
General
I'm still not decided what that means yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Listen
not
to me.
man.
But there was enough evidence because of his injuries to charge you with the sexual battery. Okay. Okay. So you're the only one with them. And then we have a head injury, which the medical examiner said that there's no way it could have caused by a simple fall. Okay. Now we got all these things building up against you. Okay. Now, the general parts, debatable. What people say, debatable. Okay. Because that's people talking. People talk. What's not debatable is the head injury. Okay. What I'm trying to get is that if we don't have the whole truth about that,
If I
okay.
sit here and I'm trying to run back everything that happened that day that I could have possibly done to injure that child's head like that, man, and I can't come up with a single
Okay.
thing.
But see what I'm trying to say here is that okay, I'm willing to give you on some of these things, okay? Because there's a long way between somebody,
Yeah, I agree. Everyone's lying but him. And this guy is sitting here lying to his face, saying, "I'm going to give you these things. I'm going to let you say, okay, these people aren't telling the truth. You're the one telling the truth. But I need to know. I need to know how he got this head injury. You know, he's willing to clear it. He's telling this guy that he's going to clear him of everything except the head injury. Okay? So he's not guilty of anything but the head injury. When he knows darn good and well that he's lying to this guy. He's just trying to get on his good side to get him to open up about the head injury. But I thought I seen another story come up there.
I had kids when some things happen that shouldn't happen because you get angry, and when somebody tortures a child, okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Like,
I don't think you're the type that would torture a child, okay? Just by talking to you,
I got kids, sir.
Okay, I understand. And we talked to your ex-wife, see how you treat those boys, DCS has talked to them. We see how you treat your boys, okay? You don't seem like the type that would torture a young child, okay? Okay, and that's what.
But your own child, you treat your own child much different than you're going to treat a stepchild or somebody else's child. In my case, I'm going to be more polite and more kind to somebody else's child and more forthcoming with my own child. I tell my son, if you don't straighten yourself up, I'm going to kick you in the booty or something, Now, I'd never, ever, never, ever lay hands on him. For one thing, he's bigger than I am. He's got about 50 pounds weight on me, and he's about an inch taller than I am. And If he wanted to lay hands on me, there'd be no me backing down at all, because he would have the upper hand easily. But I'm going to tell him how the cow ate the cabbage for sure. With somebody else's child, I may say, I think we need to sit down on the couch and have a time out, and then you can talk to your mom and dad about this when they get back, because I'm not going to be in a position to where somebody's going to say that I did anything out of line to somebody else's child.
But I'm trying to work with you here on that. Okay, maybe you don't deserve all these charges because you got 5 different charges on you because of the damage to his body. Okay, see what I'm saying?
But one thing I know about the state of Florida, sir, is nothing I tell you or anybody else is gonna make a difference. When I get in the courtroom with all this stuff y'all are saying, they're gonna hang me.
Okay, but what if we can explain part of it?
Just be honest. And if you made a mistake and you had a temporary lapse in judgment and snap and said, look, I punched him. All right. Well, it doesn't make it look like you punched him 10 times because he had 10 hemorrhages in his head. Okay, just be honest, man. You screwed up, you made a mistake, and we got the evidence. We're not saying you're a bad dad, okay? No one said you're a bad dad, to be honest. I don't think you set out that day and said, I'm killing Aaden.
Sorry, I had
For whatever reason, I don't know what the trigger was, but something happened that day.
Nothing.
You didn't mention to me that you were smoking marijuana.
You didn't ask.
Well, come on. You didn't mention Amber and Tim came over. You conveniently leave out details.
I just forgot. So you got to understand, you woke me up out of my sleep at 3:30 in the morning.
But you conveniently told me every single detail about the bath and the slipping and the toothbrush.
I forgot about
you knew
Tim
that
and
those
Amber.
details.
That shit wasn't nothing, man. They were
But to be honest,
Brown Eyed Girls, you never asked me if I smoked marijuana that day. So I ain't going to tell you because you didn't ask. That don't make no sense. No sense. And to answer your question, no, I didn't. I don't do that sort of stuff. Never have, never will.
honest, I could give a shit less about weed, okay? I don't care. I'm worried about a kid that was beaten to death. Know what bothers me the most is the ME said that if he got immediate medical treatment, he would have survived. At that time, you were up playing Xbox in Chris Plum's apartment.
Actually, I was in my apartment, so I was showing him how to play my Xbox.
Well, we have witnesses seeing you go up to that apartment twice for 20 minutes. Not, we're not saying long.
No. Okay.
And I'm not saying you did drugs those times. I'm not saying you did drugs those times.
Okay.
You went up, it was something to do with a game, right? He was showing you how to do something with a game?
I was showing him how to do something with a game.
Okay. You know, and this reiterates that what I'm telling you, you know I'm not lying. You know that Chris was honest with me and told me, because if you're agreeing, then obviously I'm telling the truth.
Well, I talked to Chris on the phone yesterday and said not to be rude, but he said you were a dickhead.
Actually,
and that you tried your best to get him to say whatever it was that you wanted him to say, and he told you straight up he wasn't in the apartment and he didn't have nothing to do with it.
That's funny because I didn't talk to him yesterday.
No, he talked to me yesterday and said he talked to him the day before.
Well, you know what? I am a dick when a 2-year-old gets beaten. I am a dick.
He said you kept accusing him and saying he was going to be an accessory or something like that. I don't know.
Well, you know,
I'm just going by what he said,
when you protect someone and a person like yourself that uses intimidation on people, you know, that's what happens. People do love.
I smoked cigarettes up until September 1st of 2024. Nope, 2023. Then I quit September 1st, 2023. My husband, on the 15th of March, was 10 years since he quit smoking. Now I vape, but I vape 0 nicotine. So I don't have no nicotine. It's just vape. There's no cigarette, no e-cig, no nothing. It's just vape smoke flavor. it's a hand to mouth thing for me. It's not about the nicotine anymore. Because I've been nicotine free, even my bottles here. Where's it at? It says right on the, can you see it on the bottle? It says 0 milligrams nicotine right there. 0 nicotine. So, and I just went and got a new flavor today. It's supposed to be raspberry lemonade, but it tastes more like a custard. I don't like custard, but if I can walk in a room, like when we were down in Arkansas, I went into a room. I went to 2 houses while we were in Arkansas, and I went into a room in each house, and I was like, oh my God, I got to get out of this room. It's going to give me a massive migraine, because I could smell that it had been done in those rooms in that house. And I'm like, I told my sister, I'm like, this is the room that your husband takes his medicine in, because he's got medicine he has to have it because he's got Tourette's and he has to use it for that stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is his medicine room. I said, I gotta leave. But so I'm like, oh, that stuff gives me a headache. Just the smell of it stinks. I don't want it around me.
Lie. Because everyone that I've talked to seems to.
Do you have an inhaler for your COPD, Brown Eye Girls? My doctor told me that I had COPD, but I never believed him. Because I didn't have any trouble. I mean, I coughed a little bit, but I didn't have any trouble. I never did wheeze or anything like that. Unless I overexerted myself, like doing yard work, mowing or whatever, then my front yard out in front of my house isn't any bigger than this room right here, but I live on an acre, so the backyard is like everything. And just to get my lawnmower out and mow this amount of area right here, I can't get half of it done without having to stop and catch my breath, and because it's up and downhill. So I'm going downhill and going uphill and going downhill. And my husband got me a self-propelled mower, so all I have to do is clamp the thingy and it'll pull me up the hill. Oh, I shouldn't have done that with my shoulder. But it'll pull me up my hill, but it's still too much on me. And I still haven't even gotten my garden taken care of from last year. My tomato plants from last year are still up there in the tomato vine thingies, and I need to get new ones planted. I'm never gonna get it done. I will one day.
To say you can go from 0 to 10 like that. And I think that's what happened to Aaden. Something pissed you off and you went from 0 to 10. And
What
you
could a
can't take it back.
22-month-old child that can't even speak
Nothing.
piss me off?
Nothing but something, because he's in a freezer right now in the ME's office. So something happened. Do you not disagree with that something happened?
Yes, sir.
How is he dead? You tell me. You were the only one else in that apartment by your own statement. So tell me.
When I was in the apartment with Aaden, I didn't do anything to him, sir.
So the back didn't
The
happen.
only time that child was awake and out of my sight was maybe for an hour and a half when he went upstairs. That's it. Maybe 45
Just out of
minutes.
precaution, why didn't you just call the rescue? Just get him checked out. He fell. He slipped on the tub.
My kids
He
do.
looks fine, but can you just check his vitals? Just check him over. I want to make sure he's all right.
My kids fall all the time, sir. I never thought.
He
nothing of it.
drowned in blood in his head. He drowned in his own blood.
He was like my son
I believe you loved him,
to death.
but I think something upset you. And unfortunately, we have statements from people saying you were screaming
Do you think that's why him and his wife are not together and he doesn't have custody of his other 3 boys?
at him, saying, I told you to go to bed, go to sleep. And then all you hear is crying for 15 minutes and you yelling. Come on, man. We got multiple statements from people saying that. Is that a lie?
Yes, sir. How can they say?
I'm telling you,
Understand
don't ask me questions.
All I need is Jesus coffee and true crime. I don't condemn anybody for it. You're an adult, and what you do on your time is your business. It's not my business. Because, I'm sure if we got right down to it, there's some things that somebody could find about me that they wouldn't approve of, and they probably would never do. And they wouldn't question, they'd just judge. So it's not my place to judge. I can understand having medical issues. I'm on disability, so I understand having medical issues. But even if my medical issues were something that I could get prescribed, that I wouldn't do it, because just the smell of it gives me a migraine. So I don't think I could do it. You're on disability. I have degenerative arthritis in my lower back, and it's my spine. The cushion between my spine is gone in one area, and it's pinching my sciatic nerve that goes down my left side. My daughter gave me a piece of what looked like a ice cream cone, and I didn't know what it was, and she said, "Don't eat the whole thing." And I ate about half of it. It was really good. And I was jacked up for 2 days. I'm telling you, I sounded like, to me, I was only hearing every third word. And I don't know how I focused for 2 days. It just jacked me up. So I never did finish eating that piece of candy. She said, "Don't get mad at me." And I said, "What did you do to me?" She said, "I was just checking to see if you were serious about how it affects you." And I said, "I told you I can't have the stuff." So she found out I was right. But, okay, let's get back to this.
Questions back.
But I don't hold it against
Who gave him massive brain hemorrhages?
Wasn't me, sir.
You're an adult. That's on you.
Who tore his anus? Who gave him hepatitis C?
I don't have hepatitis C.
Well, someone gave him it.
Cool. I ain't got that. So now what?
When's the last time you went to the doctor?
I just got out of prison, sir.
How long
I haven't been
ago?
sleeping with nobody but my baby's mother.
Would you be willing to take a test for hepatitis C?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. And if
When
I
did you get out of prison? Or was
Listen, he just said he would THC pills. Oh, I didn't know they had such a thing. He just said, let me back it up. Okay.
How can they say?
I'm telling you, don't ask me questions back. Okay, well, who gave him massive brain hemorrhages?
Wasn't me, sir. I mean,
who tore his anus? Who gave him hepatitis C?
I don't have hepatitis C.
Well, someone gave him it.
Cool. I ain't got that. So now what?
when's the last time you went to the doctor?
I just got out of prison, sir.
How long
I haven't been
ago?
sleeping with nobody but my baby's mother.
Would you be willing to take a test for hepatitis C?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, he just said he would be. Now, does your insurance cover it? Oh, you're not talking to me. He just said that he would be willing to take the test for hepatitis C. I do remember seeing something later about that's going to come back up. Hold on.
Hell yeah. And if
When
I
did
don't
you get out of prison? Or was it prison or county jail?
jail, prison, both.
But remember, hepatitis C didn't kill him.
I understand that, sir, but the person who did this to him might have had hepatitis C, right? Is what you saying?
No, that's just
No.
that's something else they found.
That's just another fact that we
And
found out
you
after
can't
he
tell
died.
how long he's had it either.
He didn't
had
die
it,
from
He
hepatitis
could
C.
have had it for a while, and us not know it.
Like we said, we don't know. The tear in the anus could have been from injuries. It doesn't necessarily mean that you were having sex with him.
Oh,
There are other, I'm not saying.
I know I wasn't having little tear.
The problem is we have evidence, but we don't know because Aaden's dead and you're the only one that knows. So that's why we need to interpret. Do we need to charge him with this? The evidence is showing a torn anus, but there could be an explanation.
Let's get back to the story. Okay, he's standing on the toilet. Is that right?
He what?
He's standing on the toilet
Yes, sir.
before this all happens. And what are you doing?
I was brushing his teeth, sir.
Okay, and what happened?
I turned around to rinse his toothbrush off, and he fell over backwards.
That is a precious memory, brown eye girls. Have your child fall asleep with their head in your lap. Those are memories that can't be taken away. I hope you do get your prescription. All I need is Jesus, because if it helps you with what is going on in your life, then more power to you.
Okay, where did he land?
In between the toilet and the tub.
Was he face up or face down?
Face up.
Face up, and he was crying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how long do you think he cried?
Already 15 minutes, sir.
Okay.
10 minutes. I already told you.
Okay.
And
what did you do next?
I picked him up, and the first thing, Chris heard him crying. The first thing I asked Chris, man, does he look all right? Like Amber even seen him before I put him to bed, man.
My cousin, he could get it in Oklahoma. He lives on the Arkansas border. He could get it from Oklahoma if he could get his legal card and his medical card for it, which he's on disability as well. And he could get the medical card for it. But his doctors in Arkansas told him that if he got on the medical stuff like that and got the legal prescription for that, they would take him off all of his other medications. Oh my goodness. That would give you PTSD. I am so sorry you had to go through that. And I'm so glad that the last word of that sentence was my ex. I'd hate to think that you're still with that person. I am so sorry you went through that. I'm so sorry. Yeah, brown eye girls, I hope he is too.
He was walking around eating a Twizzler. He was all right.
He said Amber saw that too.
Huh?
He said Amber saw it too.
Amber seen him afterward, after the shower incident. They seen him.
What time was that?
Oh, 8 o'clock, sir. I don't know.
How did she see him?
She was outside. They were at
outside your apartment?
Outside. They were at Chris's house, but when Chris came down, they came down with him.
He did go to bed injured, and we have evidence of that.
Okay, I know that, but I'm saying.
How did he have blood on his onesie, on his crotch and buttocks? Explain to me that.
He didn't.
You want a bet? You left it in a bag, hanging on the bed.
Whitney took his shirt. Oh yeah, no, the blood. He did have blood in his mouth and on his crotch.
How's it
right
covering his crotch?
Oh no.
Okay, he would have had to lost every teeth for that much blood to get on his crotch, and his whole crotch is blood, man.
Okay, so where did the blood come from, sir? There wasn't a blood in his diaper or nothing.
Are you kidding me?
There was blood in his diaper.
Are you kidding me? You're asking me where the blood came from.
You're not listening to me, sir. I'm just trying to. I want it for myself. I'm asking questions too now.
It's what you did to him. That's what the blood came
from.
What
I'm saying is, if there was blood all over this.
15 minutes of crying and screaming and you yelling, go to bed, and the kid's screaming, that's when it happened. You want the answer? That's when it happened. You can shake your head. You know it. And we got the evidence
So
to
if
prove
I
it.
did something to hurt him and there was blood all over the place, you think I'm dumb enough not to throw the picture
That's
away?
exactly what every one of us said, too. He couldn't be that dumb.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You were panicked. You got a history of violence, but you never took it this far. You never came to murder. And you couldn't think. You were scared to death.
It is a fact, though. You were scared to death.
Rightfully
You know
so.
what? I can see. After what he said just right now, that hits you right there. Okay, I can tell. You know, you're not a stupid person. You're not a criminal. You know, you've got a past, but basically you're a good person inside.
Not no more.
Okay? There's always a chance for you.
Just a dead man, sir. Just
Okay.
a dead man walking.
There's always
This guy done give up on himself. He's done give up on himself.
always a future. There's always things that can happen. Okay.
There's nothing that can happen.
Okay.
So, at the very least, be a stand-up guy and tell the truth. I mean, what do you got to lose? Either you look like, at least you can say, look, I was a man and I freaking said what happened and I stood up. No one can call you a girl, or you.
Imagine being a 2-year-old being in so much pain and crying because that's what people do when they're in pain, and someone inflicting more pain on you. I just can't with it. I understand. I'm going to see if I can go a little further and get him to tell the truth of what happened.
I said, I'm just asking. When you say multiple blunt force trauma would mean that I punched this kid in his head until he was dead or something to that effect?
Yep.
Without a knot.
I don't want to misquote.
I'm just asking.
I don't want to misquote. So I want to look. I don't want to.
What the doctor said
Okay.
is that the force that this injury occurred, okay, was he compared to as an automobile accident. If you didn't have your seatbelt on, the violent tossing, okay, is that violent, he said. And that's what, because he tries to put it on, because I don't understand the medical terms. He said, this is about as simple as that I can put it. That violent of an automobile accident, okay? And the trouble is with these injuries is that it's all inside the head. There's no external. Okay, it don't even have to be a big bump or anything, because the bruising's not between your skin and your skull. It's between your brain and your skull in there. It hits there. So the bruising's all on the inside and the bleeding's all on the inside.
Kind of like shaking baby syndrome, like, and their brains just sloshing back and forth in their head. Sometimes I wonder if that's what happened to me. I was single. In 2008, because our divorce was final 1 month before our 10th anniversary. And then my husband and I, that I'm married to now, got married in December of 2010. But we've known each other since we were like 7 years old. So we've been best friends. Okay, H. Davis, I understand. I think the reason you're so Are you having weather where you're at and it keeps you cooped up in the house more than you would normally be? That's what keeps me anxious and not able to sit still.
And it has no place to go. And it continues to swell and bleed, and that's what causes the death.
It was like 70 degrees here yesterday, and today it is like we're under winter weather advisories. It's crazy.
Okay? So you could do something to him and not realize it at first or what happened. When it comes down to it, it appears simple, Jason, that you're the only person there. Okay? That's the pure and simple of it. I don't think you're a sadistic person that tortured this young child and killed him. Okay? I think it was that you did something that was regrettable, something you shouldn't have done.
Brian, I know it doesn't sound right when somebody says it's probably for the best, but maybe he knew he wouldn't have been a good father, and maybe he knew that you'd be a good mother, and maybe your daughter is better off. And when the time is right, God will put the right person in your hands, and you won't be able to walk away. It's just there's no getting away from what God puts there.
Because you probably all I can think is you lost your temper for a split second and did something that caused this extreme injury to him. And that's just a simple fact of it. There's really no getting around it. And and I don't want you to go to trial or go before a judge.
About 15 minutes though.
Okay.
He fell. No, Chris will tell you that.
Then what led to the something had to trip you, something had to cause this to happen.
What have you been denying for so long?
I really don't know what happened to the kid's balls. I really don't.
Okay.
Like, to be honest with you.
Take that and throw that right off the table.
I'm just in general though, like these accusations. You said you couldn't speak for me, so I'm just saying, like, with his ass and his balls, I don't know.
Okay.
I like to believe that. I'm halfway there.
I just blacked out.
Where did that happen? In the bedroom? Was he in the crib?
At first, Whitney called me and told me to check on him after the fall because I didn't call her at work and tell her he fell.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in there to check on him, but he wasn't asleep. I didn't care that he wasn't asleep. I wasn't mad that he wasn't asleep.
Did he wet the bed?
No, yeah, I don't remember if he went. No. I changed his diaper, but he hadn't wet the bed. I was trying to prevent that. She asked me to take his shirt off because it was hot in the house. I told her, like, it's hot as fuck. She's like, man.
My son, my 17-year-old, has never met his biological father either. And his biological mother is the daughter that I never know whether she's dead or alive. She lives out in California. And I didn't know if she was okay during all the fires they had out in LA, but then she contacted my sister and told my sister to tell me to stop worrying about her because she didn't even live in LA anymore. So I could just quit bothering about her. So, he'll be 18, and if he wants to go see her, that's on him after he's 18, after he graduates high school. But until he graduates high school, I don't think I want to let him. Once he turns 18, I can't stop him from going to see her. I can't. He'll be an adult. He can go and come and go and do whatever he wants. But I don't want him to take off. I want him to stay here and graduate high school.
I take his shirt off and change his diaper. He was already up. So I picked him up out the crib.
Hi, Reality.
And when I picked him up out the crib,
How are you doing today?
kind of like, you can ask Whitney, he used to like
This video is trigger warning. It's very, very trigger warning.
play with me all the time. And he punched me in the eye, like playing, and I dropped him on his head. And he was all right, I guess. And I was changing his diaper, but I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at him when I dropped him because he punched me in the eye. I was all right, you know what I'm saying? It frustrated me, but damn, I was more worried about like, shit, I just dropped the jit, you know what I'm saying? Like back of his head from 6 feet in the air, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but he looked all right. And then I was changing his diaper and it was shitty. So he got up with the poop on him and he tried to run. So I grabbed him by his neck and I, like, you know what I'm saying? I just snatched him back like, God damn, Aaden, what are you doing? And he fell again, hit his head. I grabbed him by from his leg. I was like, hold on, man, where you going? Don't run, we got shit on you, you know what I'm saying? And he fell and hit his head on the ground again, boom. And I was like, God damn, man. He kept rolling around on the floor like he wasn't getting shit anywhere or nothing, but he just wouldn't lay still. And I kept yelling at him like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't yelling, go to bed. I was yelling like, you gotta go to bed, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop, man, I'm trying to fucking, all I want to do is get you dressed, stop fucking bucking, you know?
I can see a baby doing that. You know, I can't see cussing the baby out like that, but when my kids were little and I'd be changing their diaper, they used to think it was funny to try to get up and run away. All kids do that.
You know what I'm saying? And then he started crying because I yelled at him.
He wasn't
you
trying
remember
to
shaking
yell at him.
me
He was crying because you bit.
Did you shake him though? Yeah.
It sucks, man. It does suck. It's sad.
His eyes were rolling in the back of his head, and I was like, oh shit, hey, come on, man, what's up with you? And he could kind of like, he was all right-ish, not at all. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think there was no way, man. The first time he hit his head on the ground, though, he fell fucking hard, man.
Was it the changing table on top of
No,
the crib?
no, the floor. Never used the changing table. He was way too big for that. Way too fucking big.
Mm-hmm.
And originally I was changing his diaper and I had his hand in my hand, his arms are on top, and I was holding him. And I said, baby, what's wrong with you, man? I said, why you punch me? I wasn't mad at him, really, you know what I'm saying? And then when he didn't even cry really from that fall. Like, your man knocked him dumb, though, you know what I'm saying? The way he didn't even, because I could look at him after he fell the first time, man, and he was a little like,
It sounds like what you're saying is that it might have just been the shaking. You know, the fall, you may have been okay. And then I went back in the room a little later. I went up to Chris's after that, and I was like, I wanted to tell Chris, like, Chris, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if this nigga's doing all right. I just kind of dropped him on. I don't really remember, like, the whole shaking thing. Like, I know I was like, yo.
Did he just call that little baby the N-word? No way.
A little bit, like you said, it could have been, I don't know.
Did you pick him up, like, what you said while he was running? Did you pick him up and like, hey, like, kind of, calm down, what are you doing?
No, when he tried to run away from me, I was on the floor and I just kind of like grabbed his leg, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, get back here. And I grabbed and snatched his foot and it sparked like that.
He is treating him as an adult. You are out of control, dude. You don't deserve to be around a child. I know, and he's got 3 children of his own. 3 boys.
It just spun around again, you know what I'm saying?
Like when you're saying, were you holding him by his arms or how were you holding him?
Like I said, I had his head like this and he kept like screaming and kicking and pushing me away. And I was like, hey, just stop. Like, there's no need for that shit, man. I just want to change your diaper, put you to bed and do what I was doing. And then he stopped.
Even that little bit is, and I believe it, I believe that's right, because even that little bit, it's a little kid.
It wasn't even really, I can't say it was just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody said, though, Jason, you know how strong you are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just wanted him to stop crying because I didn't mean to drop him, you know what I'm saying? And when I didn't mean to drop him, but I'm talking about when I grabbed his leg more than anything. Like dropping him
you're right,
originally,
they
if he
did.
poked me in the eye, was an honest to God fucking, he hit for on accident.
Is it possible when you grabbed his leg, maybe that's how his... I don't think you sexually abused him.
No,
I said it
never.
from freaking day one.
I said when I touch anyone, a man, let alone a child, it's a man.
But is it possible when you grabbed his leg, that's how his, maybe it caught like his like I'm trying to work with you here. I don't
know what happened with his.
Is it possible that like when you grabbed him, that's how, did you grab him by the crotch? That's why I asked how you picked him up. When at any point.
I never picked him up by his nuts, sir.
But like you said, you had his head here. Where was his body? When you said like his head was here.
Yeah, I had him laid on his back on the ground. I found after he fell, boom, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even drag him to me, you know what I'm saying? After he fell, I was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? I picked him up and he was screaming. Yeah, I picked him up off the ground just regularly, you know what I'm saying? I didn't pick him up by the nuts, I just picked him up and he was screaming. I was like, baby, stop.
So he was laying on his back, and how were you? Were you on like your knees? If he's laying on his back, like were you like,
originally,
I'm down?
I was like that, and then when he was crying, I went to talk to him, so I got on my elbows, you know what I'm saying? I had his head in my hands, like that. Yeah, and he was underneath me with his legs like spread over my knees-ish, you know what I'm saying?
Did he have his diaper on at that time or no?
Yeah, because I had just the whole changing and he tried to run. I pulled him back over and he was crying. I threw the diaper on him, threw powder on him, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, stop crying. What are you crying for? You want candy? The same thing that got him to stop crying earlier. I couldn't get him to stop crying. And when I was shaking him, I just was like, ah! And I let his head hit the ground again.
It sounds odd, but where'd you put the diaper?
Probably in the poop thing.
Okay, because I saw there was a diaper in the bathroom and then the poop can in the...
Yeah, I think I put it in the poop thing. That's even where I pooped out.
They said okay. We went out and ate and did a consultation on my hair. That woman went, oh my goodness. Do you gotta go watch Smiley's last live? $350, wow. Smiley was mad 1,000%. I was flipping channels and I saw that Smiley was mad about something. She said that she told somebody, she said, you don't come in my chat. She said, if I have something posted on here from TikTok, I have a reason and you don't need to ask me what my reason is. That's what I heard her say. And oh my gosh, I was like, I'm leaving. I don't want to get in the middle of this. Somebody done made Smiley mad. I hope it wasn't TikTok Julie. I haven't heard anything from her lately, and I ain't missed it a bit.
So, well, you said that you did that again.
Yeah, I had my elbows up and I had him like this. I lifted him up to me and I was like, hey, why don't you fucking just stop? And I'm up. And boom, he hit his head again. And as he was like rolling a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
His eyes were rolling back? Was it the third time he hit his head?
Actually, I'd say the fourth because he really fell in the bathroom.
Okay, so it's okay. And then his eyes started rolling back, and what happened then? Did you put him to bed or?
Lost it. I didn't know what else. I didn't know he was fucked up like that, but I knew I banged his head on the ground, you know what I'm saying, a couple times in the last 5 fucking minutes here, you know. And I just didn't know what to do.
Were you afraid, like, oh shit, like, if I call the rescue or something, I'm done. I'm screwed.
Not really. I wasn't, honestly, I didn't think that I didn't think at all, actually, but I didn't think that nothing that, honestly, in my heart as a father, didn't think anything that, other than the original drop, was far enough to hurt him, sir.
And you're hoping that,
yeah, when I put him to bed, I'm talking about he just stopped crying. He stopped crying, and I was like, okay, you done now? And he kind of like looked up at me, and he wasn't limp or nothing, no, when I picked him up, you know what I'm saying? He was still kind of squirmy, but he didn't. have a full fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just laid him in bed. I was like, yo, do you want your baba? He didn't even want it.
Do you know what time that was when that all happened?
10
o'clock or so?
ish.
Okay.
Can you walk through like what happened when Whitney got home?
Who tries two-faced lies? I missed something. Miley was mad. She sure was. She was not playing in the least. The trolls came for you. They didn't get. I'm glad they didn't get you, reality. You don't let them get to you though. You tell them how the cow ate the cabbage. Not trolls. Reality wins. Brown eyes. I know. I will find someone. I get my hair done there for birthday. She's tired of the two-faced lies playing both sides. Oh, people in her chat. Okay, I got it. It's hilarious when they try to tell creators what to do. I know. There was a lot of people trying to tell Brittany what to do last night on her second channel. My daughter's messaging me. Sorry. Okay, all you need exactly. I knew like 3 months ago some would flip. I decided it's best if I stay in my own lane and do my own thing because they ain't bothering me and I ain't bothering them. But you know what? There's days when I wish they would bother me and come after me. That way they'd leave Brittany alone and let her get some peace.
Was he on the couch or in the bed?
In the bed. When she got home, he was in the bed.
Okay.
Is that where you put him?
Yeah, because I, you know what I'm saying, after the diaper was changed, I really personally, like I said, there weren't any, I checked, you know what I'm saying, there wasn't a bump or, you know what I'm saying, or nothing like that. So it wasn't like, I did all the routine. I didn't know that, oh, well, if a kid bumps his head and there's no knot, well, most likely the damage is internal, dumbass. You know what I'm saying? They didn't tell me that till the next day.
Well, the one thing that the blood, like I think in a way you could be right about like you didn't see blood, but I'm trying to figure out how he got it. Like he may have been laying there and there could have dripped. I don't know.
Like I honestly, this onesie.
So God's honest truth, you didn't see blood on his face or anything.
No,
just on his.
I didn't see blood on it, and if I did, honestly, at that point, I would have tried to cover it up. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have. I'm not that scary. You know what I'm saying? I would have tried to cover it up, sir. I didn't know there was any blood until Whitney got home.
Okay.
And the blood on his crotch, sir, I would like to say I hung his onesie over the crib. It wasn't in a bag or nothing. And Whitney was trying to wipe his mouth out with something to try to see in his mouth. So if she wiped his mouth out with the onesie, that's cool. But I didn't put him to bed with no blood. Obviously, there wasn't no blood in his pillow or nothing like that, was there?
I just...
That's what I'm
the
saying.
reason I asked is so I can explain it. You know, they'll say to me, well, how does he explain the blood? And it could be that.
I really don't remember what happened with the blood. He wasn't bleeding when I put the blood on the sheets. You know, he was not bleeding when I put him in bed. He was fine.
Walk me through what time did Whitney get home?
11:20.
Okay. My only thing is that, again, when the medical examiner gets done with all his findings, that it fits your story right now. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Because he said that the head was extreme. Okay. It wasn't just a single bump.
Without my permission.
No, this is just DNA.
I still do it though.
This is what I was talking about.
Why do you?
Sir, the only reason I lied to you, I'm gonna be honest, is because I didn't want to go right.
I'm behind. just haters in these streets. It's also dumb. Seth was in her chat. He said it's no joke. He said she said she will back Crabtree. He's like a little brother. I heard Brittany say that last night. Okay, are we talking about TL changing over to the other side? Because I don't think Brittany did. Right, reality, he doesn't.
Right there.
It's almost
I'm
over.
sorry.
To be honest, I
As a
wouldn't have
man,
taken it
I'm
right
sorry.
then. There was still investigation to do. I don't, you
I
know,
wasn't sure. I
there's
wanted to
more.
see my
There's always
kids.
two sides to a story.
Just want to see my kids one more time, sir.
And
I'm sorry. I lied.
Oh,
you don't have to.
I almost forgot. One more thing we need to do, if you don't mind.
What's that for?
This is it's a DNA swab. So when we go through the evidence, we see what's Whitney's.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you swab my mouth right now and test me for Hep C without my permission, then
No, this is just
you
DNA.
still do it though.
I don't.
No, hepatitis.
Didn't he say just a little while ago that he would gladly test for hepatitis? And now he's saying you're going to swab me or you're going to test me for hepatitis without my permission? Oh, man. You're right, reality and Brown Eye Girl. Seth is not at fault for any of this. Yada and yes, Julie is flipping on this. I never did care for TikTok, Julie. Not from the day she walked in. Not from the day she walked in. Okay, there's just a few more minutes of this. This is not Seth's fault. I agree with you.
This has to be
I
blood.
don't know who to ask.
Yeah, hepatitis
I
is
still
blood.
want to take that test anyway. I want to know if I got it. But
Yeah,
I'm just-
yeah. This is just to get your what they call profile.
Is there any way?
Everyone
I know y'all
deserves a
can't
second
promise
chance.
me anything. Is there any way y'all can get me to protective custody in this jail? I just don't want to die tonight.
No, you will be. You will be in the
Guarantee that you can guarantee me that, sir.
Yes. Well, as far as sexual battery, anytime there's anything with a child, I mean, you've been to jail more than me. You probably know the inside more than me. So, but anytime I've dealt with, I do just sex crimes and child cases. Usually they're in protective custody, automatic if it's crime against child.
I think even on all homicides, I think they put them in solitary for.
I think they put
Did you
because
hear that?
they may even treat you like you're suicidal because they just assume it's such a you know.
Did you hear this guy? Are they gonna put me in some place where I can be safe? Cause they think it's a child. They think I did something sexual. Are they gonna put me someplace in solitary? Oh my God. Seth was doing all he could with what info he had. If he knew it was dire, he would have took Sebastian right then and there, whether everything was ready or not. They must be boring. Oh, he Johnny. He's done now. They just have just a couple more minutes. He ended up getting life. Hold it, somebody's at my door.
I get that, but it's little.
Okay, so what do I do?
So I have noticed it here. I'm going to real quick. It shows the date of the incident, your information, which is living at large, my information. coordinating April 22nd, 2022 to occur. April 22nd, 2025 at 2 p.m. Not the. You get rid of all of them?
No, just the one that's not like that. I took it back where I got it.
Okay.
Said I told the lady, I was trying to find him a home, and I told the lady, I said, I'm not able to find him a home, and I can't keep three big dogs at my house. The other two, I don't have any problem with them trying to get out, I feel like they make training sense, and everything, they're good dogs, and they're microchipped and everything. Put that in there.
This is your copy. This is a report here.
Where do I go for that?
Do you know where the safety book is?
Can I? That's behind it?
So, you know where the high school runs?
Uh-huh,
That's your, I guess right there. It'll be right behind you. Like,
okay. All right, thank you.
absolutely.
I'm sorry, look. Can't see it. Uniform notice to appear. I gotta go to court over my dog. Oh, goodness gracious. Disgusting and gross. I just don't see the point. Half of them said themselves that they think the Flintfoot did something to Sebastian. I'll never get what their end goal is for justice. The language is atrocious with them. Did they grow up with parents except who spoke like that to them? Well, I told the officer I don't even have the dog anymore, but I have to go to court April 22nd. Well, that means I got to cancel my husband's doctor's appointment. So, anyway, do you like that kind of story? Because that guy had a lot of stories that I could go over his stories. Or is that just too triggering? I hope so. But they said I have to go to court for dog at large. So running at large times 3. So, but I don't have that one dog, but I have the other 2. And I have already taken measures to correct the problem so that they don't run anymore. So anyway, I ain't worried about it. So what are they going to do? Make me pay $50 court cost? $100 fine? I already paid the $220 to get her cat fixed, only to find out that she sent me a picture. Let's see if I can find it. I was just talking to the lady the other day. Now, let me find her picture. I don't know if you can see it. This was the cat the day I took it to the vet, okay? The cat was up, walking around. Everything was fine. We took it to the vet, got it shots, got everything. Okay? Then, after she got the cat home, and now the cat's been home since tomorrow, it'll be a week because it was the same day that I fell and hurt my rib. And then this is what the cat did to its leg. She tried to get me to believe that my dog did that to her cat. That cat was not injured. She said, oh, the vet just didn't see it. Tell me the vet didn't see it. You can see the clippers right beside it. She did that to the cat. Both of the German Shepherds that I do have are fixed and microchipped and everything. It cost us to get both of our boys fixed and all their shots and everything. Cost us right at $1,500. And then plus we paid for microchips after that. So anyway, I better get off of here. I've been here for 2 hours, and I'm sure somebody's going to be going live soon. I think Brittany's got something scheduled at 8:30. So I'm going to get off of here. Do something nice for someone, even if it's be the reason they smile today, and get Locker. Thank you for being here.